You've spent months, maybe years, researching, analyzing data, and drafting your thesis. It's exhausting work. And when the finish line is finally in sight, it is incredibly tempting to treat your opening abstract and your final conclusion as hasty generic summaries used to cross the finish line. But the reality of academic readership is ruthless. Researchers are swimming in information overload. They rarely sit down to read a full paper cover to cover. Instead, they rely almost exclusively on the abstract and the conclusion to decide if your study is actually relevant to their needs. These two sections serve completely different, highly strategic purposes. Your abstract operates as a gateway filter to sell the paper, while your conclusion serves as the fullest final expression of your cumulative argument. Failing to purposefully structure these two bookends means risking months of rigorous, difficult work being completely overlooked by the scholarly community. To wrap these sections effectively, applied linguists use a framework called rhetorical moves. These are goal-directed communicative acts that perform very specific functions within an academic text. To see how this works in practice, we'll follow a real-world case study, a published paper by Pham and Usaha. Their study investigated whether Facebook-based peer feedback improved university students' writing quality better than traditional paper-based feedback. We are going to act as academic architects. We'll build the bookends for this Facebook feedback study from scratch, block by block. Mastering these moves transitions you from merely listing facts to purposefully constructing an engaging intellectual narrative. Let's start at the beginning with the abstract. The rule here is strict efficiency. You have exactly 120 to 300 words to pitch a study that is already completely finished. And it must be entirely self-contained, readable without requiring a look at the rest of the document. Our first structural block is Move 1, the territory. We open by establishing the broad context. In our case study, the authors write, "E-peer response has recently been introduced to help student writers improve." We've established the field. Next comes Move 2, the gap. We use the word however to explicitly pinpoint exactly what is missing in the current literature. Our authors write, "However, few studies have been conducted to see how the new medium of the blog platform can be applied effectively." Then we hit Moves 3 and 4, purpose and methodology. We avoid granular details and quickly outline who participated, 12 second-year university students, and the analytical approach we used, such as quantitative analysis. Finally, we lock in Move 5, results and significance. This is the final hook. We report the key finding, that the comments did affect writing quality, and state exactly why this new technology matters to educators. When assembled correctly, this 5-move abstract operates as a highly compressed machine. It successfully sells the study's relevance to the reader without wasting a single word. Now we jump to the end of the document, the conclusion. This chapter functions as the final synthesis of your argument, moving beyond the simple reporting of results found in a discussion section. Move 1 of the conclusion is the summary of findings. Here, researchers must restate the answers to their research questions in plain language, completely stripping away statistical tables, figures, and technical jargon. From there, we transition to Move 2, interpretation and contribution. Here, you must explicitly argue what your findings mean for the field, for example, by proving that digital feedback outpaces paper feedback in specific contexts. These first 2 moves are where the researcher steps out from behind the raw data and confidently claims what the academic field now knows that it didn't know before. Of course, no study is perfect. Move 3 covers limitations. This requires hedging, using tentative language to avoid overclaiming. Notice the difference between a blunt statement and a scientifically accurate observation. Acknowledging constraints, like a small sample size or institutional restrictions, is a mark of intellectual honesty and methodological transparency. It identifies the boundaries of what your evidence can and cannot support. We close the conclusion with Move 4, recommendations for future research. Instead of using generic cliches, propose specific next steps. Suggest comparing Facebook feedback to AI-generated feedback, effectively giving other researchers a clear target for their own studies. By actively outlining limitations and specific research targets, you effectively pass the baton. You've situated your work as a vital link in an ongoing scholarly chain. This chart shows the differences between our 2 bookends. The abstract is a compressed, front-loaded filter, while the conclusion is an expansive anchor. The abstract must make perfect sense in isolation. The conclusion, however, connects backward, assuming the reader has journeyed through all preceding chapters. Despite these differences, both sections are bound by the exact same need for strategic rhetorical moves. Respecting these distinct reader needs is the difference between writing a paper that is skimmed and discarded and one that is actively studied. Adopt the active mindset of a scholar asserting their study's value, moving past the impulse to simply summarize the work. By building these bookends with structured rhetorical moves, your research escapes the library vacuum. It becomes a respected, cited voice in the global academic community.